5 famous thriller films inspired by true life events. We always have this trick when watching horror thriller movies wherein we say to ourselves that the events happening on the screen aren't real, an obsession to his mother that leads to committing a murder, a killing that happens in dreams, or a murderer dentist.
Open wide.
Surely these are just mere story pitches for films, right? Think again, because in this video, we'll learn 5 famous thriller films that are actually inspired by true life events. Number 5. Psycho, 1960. Alfred Hitchcock's classic film Psycho follows a woman who stole money from her boss, after which she runs off to a mysterious hotel where she is murdered by the manager, Norman Bates, a man who loves to dress up as his dead mother. The latter is in turn a decomposing dead body stashed somewhere in the house. This story is actually an adaptation from a 1959 book of the same name, written by Robert Bloch. The book is in turn based on the exploits of a real-world murderer named Ed Gein. Gein is supposed to be the inspiration on the character of Norman Bates. Gein was a man from Wisconsin convicted for one murder in the 1950s, although authorities believe him to be the one responsible for many other deaths in the area. Gein had some of the most bizarre hobbies, including grave robbing. Upon investigation, the police were able to find a lot of disturbing hidden items in his home, including bowls made from human skulls and lampshades made from the skin of a person's face. But what makes Gein very Bates-like is his obsession with his mother, which is totally bizarre and unnerving. Number 4. The Strangers, 2008. Featuring the acts of Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler, The Strangers is a slasher thriller film written and directed by Brian Bertino. The story follows the horrifying experience of a couple who stays at a vacation home after attending from a friend's wedding. What was supposed to be a chance to make a getaway from the hustle and bustle of the city, their stay quickly turned into a terror fest when 3 masked criminals chanced upon their doors and infiltrated the residence. In an interview, Bertino said that the film was inspired by 3 real-life instances. One was the director's own personal experience as a kid, in which strangers knocked on their home while his parents were away. He later learned that the would-be intruders had been responsible for the rampant break-ins in his neighborhood.
There's someone out there.
The second was the Manson family murders, in which followers of the infamous criminal and cult leader Charles Manson murdered at least 5 people in a home invasion. And then there's the Ketty Cabin murders, in which an entire family was murdered at their remote resort in California. Number 3. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. A Nightmare on Elm Street? Freddy Krueger? Murders committed in dreams? This has got to be pure fiction, right? Except no. Everybody probably knows the notorious murderer who used a gloved hand with razors to kill his victims in their dreams, causing their deaths to happen in the real world as well.
Don't fall asleep.
In later interviews, famed franchise director Wes Craven shared some truths about the movie. He said that the slasher film was actually inspired by reports made during the 70s and 80s when Asian men began to die in their sleep. No one really understood what happened then. The phenomenon was given a name, the Asian Death Syndrome, and even today, no one could ever explain the reasons behind such bizarre coincidences. Number 2. The Dentist, 1996. While it may not be true for everyone, we all probably have the same dreaded reaction when told to go to see a dentist, especially when we're just kids.
Good. Give me 5. All right, let's go.
It's probably then that this 1996 film by Brian Yuzna has added more to the reasons why children have become so afraid to sit on a dentist's chair. Gritty and gory to the core, The Dentist tells the story of the titular character who, by sadistic means, gets revenge on his cheating wife. It's been thought that The Dentist was actually based on the criminal exploits of one Dr. Glennon, Edward Engelman, a dentist in Missouri. Despite the success of his practice, the former U.S. Army veteran chose to make a side hustle of being a hitman. According to reports, he planned and carried out at least 7 murders over the course of 3 decades. His modus operandi would be to convince women to marry and then have their unlucky husbands murdered by him, after which they'd split the insurance checks. And number 1, The Girl Next Door, 2007. Just to be clear, we're not talking about the 2004 romantic comedy film of the same title, starring Alicia Cuthbert as a former pornographic actress. The one we're referring to is the Gregory M. Wilson's horror thriller film, The Girl Next Door. Released in 2007, the film is based on the 1989 novel by Jack Ketchum. It tells the story of a young woman who suffered and eventually died at the hands of her merciless relatives. What makes the tale even more harrowing is the fact that it is actually based on the torture and murder of one Sylvia Likens in 1965. The 16-year-old was abused by her caregiver, Gertrude Beniskowski's children, and their neighborhood as entertainment. Likens eventually died due to brain swelling, internal hemorrhaging of the brain, and extreme shock, a report said. If you find it hard to stomach the film, then you'd better have an iron get if you wish to look into the real-life case of Sylvia Likens. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.